I'm standing in the third bunker that we have for demonstration purposes here at the Sunshine Course at Golf House with Don Cross, the superintendent Skokie. And it's interesting I'm standing here with Don because Don's the one guy who doesn't have any liners. But here we have what is called capillary concrete. It is really a very similar product to what we just looked at Better Billy. It is also a flexible concrete polymer where, again, you put in a line of pea gravel underneath, attach that to your drainage lines, and then you seal it and the entire floor of the bunker with capillary concrete. Capillary concrete purports to be a little bit cheaper, and it allows someone to install it who is not licensed by Better Billy, whereas Better Billy has licensees. On the other hand, I'm told that you have to have full truckloads of concrete anytime you install it, so it may be a little bit more cumbersome than the other, but they work essentially the same way. And what they're really designed to do is two things. In conjunction with the sand, they're designed to hold the sand down from washing out, and they're designed to drain quickly without there being any infiltration from the bottom. So all of these liners attempt to do the same things. They attempt to hold the sand, they attempt to aid the drainage, and they attempt to keep the sand from being contaminated. Now, the best guy I think to ask about the advantages and disadvantages is somebody who doesn't use any of them, so he doesn't have any prejudice. He uses the old-fashioned way because his golf course works that way. Don, what do you see as the advantages between, let's start between fabric and the more concrete-like substances?
Okay. Well, I would say that certainly fabric could be installed by a maintenance crew with limited, or without any issue at all. And so that's probably the biggest advantage. The other two require some level of contractor involvement. The Better Billy, like you mentioned, has a license agreement, so that one has to be done by people specifically licensed for that. And the capillary concrete is something that a crew could do themselves. There are some issues with that. It may, if you're doing a lot of them, certainly you'd want to have a contractor. What I see is the differences in my mind, and again, I don't have either one of these systems. I do have a little bit of Better Billy system. I've got a polymer treated a couple of my bunkers that really get a lot of water off of the village. When we get heavy rain, we've seen sand completely displaced. So when we did our bunkers a couple years ago, we did put polymer over a couple of our drain lines in those particular bunkers with the expressed plan to hold that gravel in place if we were to get heavy rain so that it wouldn't mix with the sand. So, but that's my extent of involvement with either of these systems. But as I see it, just in looking today, to me, it seems like the gravel base of a Better Billy system is a little bit more coarse, I would say, which may be beneficial on a steep grass or steep flashed face. Might help the sand hold up better. Mm-hmm. Capillary does. It's not a smooth base by any means, but it just doesn't seem like as coarse. Now it is porous, water moves through it, we know that, but that's just my observation here.
Well, the other thing that you have to understand too are two problems that I see. Number one, the fabric is cheaper. There's no question about that. So if you're doing something on a budget, you have to look at all of them.
Yep.
But historically, the fabric doesn't last as long. Now that's an advantage and a disadvantage. The one thing I would caution people is that if you are planning or considering changing bunker locations or changing shapes of bunkers in a significant way over time, you're going to have to break up this concrete and you're going to have to dispose of it somewhere that they allow you to dispose of it. So if you spent a lot of money, you're not going to want to be tearing it up soon. If you have any plans to renovate your golf course, which is going to involve changing locations and shapes of bunkers, you might want to wait on doing something with Better Billy or with capillary concrete so that you don't have to undergo that expense twice and you don't have to have the problems of breaking it up and moving it out. It will be easier to do it with fabric and it's cheaper. On the other hand, if you're pretty happy with the way your golf course is designed, then your committee and your superintendent should take a look at all of them and decide what's best for you. They all perform. They all serve a function, and particularly if you have steep-face bunkers, you're going to need something like this, or else you're going to spend a lot of money on maintenance that you don't need to. So I want to thank everyone who watched this. I want to thank our participating superintendents, Don Cross and Reed Anderson. And I want to have you, if you like this, let us know at the CDGA, because we're planning on doing a whole series of programs relating to golf course maintenance and issues. And if you have any ideas about something you would like to see us talk about, please send them in to Dr. Settle or to Shabazz Singh, and we'll get right on it. Thank you very much for watching.